On today's Minute of the Apes, happy birthday to Sean. Happy birthday to Sean. Happy birthday, dear Sean. Happy birthday to you, Sean.
They greenlit the sequel without a story in mind. They just wanted to equal an unexpected gold mine. He said, oh no, as Heston said, I got to go. These are just some of the facts you ought to know as we go. Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes. Beneath the Minute of the Apes.
The only good human is a dead human.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet 8 movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd. I am your host for this birthday celebration for Sean.
Happy birthday, Sean.
46 years young.
46
Oh, my
years
goodness.
young, really?
I know.
My father-in-law used to always say years young. I've never heard anybody else use
I'm
that.
the baby of the group, though, right? No, yeah, I'm the baby of the
Yes,
group.
you're the baby of the group.
All right.
Great. You can now say I'm the grandpa of the group. Yeah. So,
I know, do you have to fight it out?
I'm 51.
Oh, yeah.
48.
There you go, yes. All right.
No, we don't have to fight it out. And if we did, Mr. Fit over there would kick my
beat
ass.
the shit out of both of us
Yes.
with one hand tied behind his back.
Did you know I'm trying to grow out my beard right now just to see how great it is?
I saw that on Facebook the other day.
I want to see how great it is.
Go for it.
Be prepared
You know
for the
how great
shock.
mine is. Yeah.
That was part of the reason when I had the beard before. It's kind of like, I wonder, and it was like within a week, I was like, oh my God,
I
I'm
know how
mostly
gray I
gray.
am.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've got some gray in my hair, but this is predominantly gray.
I had grown it out a few years ago for Movember.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because you grow out a little bit, and then I would like shape a mustache
Sure.
for the end of the month kind of thing. And the first year I did it, it was mostly kind of brown, ginger, red thing. And then like the next year, I actually started to see chunks of it, like oh, there's a spot right there that's totally gray. There's a
Chunks
spot
of
right there.
old.
Yeah, I kind of want to see it now.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, we'll look forward to it, and I guess we have to post pictures out now to show everybody.
Sure.
All right.
All right, so birthday and beard
I
talk
know,
aside, where are
random.
we, Sean?
We're going to start minute 51 with Brent and Nova walking down a subway tunnel, and it ends with Brent saying, well, whoever.
So I'm going to say it right up here at the first of the week before we roll this clip. A lot of these clips are going to be
hard week, yeah.
relatively silent.
Yeah.
There are stretches where you may think the podcast has stopped, but I assure you it
Give
has
us our
not.
minute, and then we'll be back.
So here we go. Let's roll the first clip.
Well, whoever, or whatever.
All right, as of minute 51, we have 3 living humans, 4 dead humans, 1 dead ape, a shootness of apes, and a gaggle of humans. All right.
I want to jump in and talk Minute of the Apes right away, but God, it still smells like the match that Richard lit for your birthday celebration to light your candle.
It smells my grandfather's bathroom.
All right, so let's see. Minute 51.
Okay,
What-
my first note is, damn it, this is all tunnel, no plot until 53 seconds in, basically.
Okay, so and Richard did kind of at least let us know in the pre-pro that he's got, as always, he's got the script and he can tell us some things, but to your point, this is a lot of, let's walk through the tunnel, let's go past a tunnel, let's go past a tunnel. That's, it is literally nothing here. You know, and the first thing that really hits me with this, this ladder.
Yeah.
Okay, so they go to the ladder. We got the
The humming, yeah.
and as soon as he touches it, it like completes the circuit and it shuts it off.
To which I'm just seeing the sound designer and going, off,
Me
on,
too.
off,
I
on,
thought there was
off, on.
somebody.
That is
He's
this
having
minute.
fun.
The minute is he does touch the ladder and
Yes.
the hum goes off.
Well, actually, no. You know, to be fair, the touching occurs next minute. I don't want to be. They discover it, so they're walking along.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Let's remember what this is. And to be fair to everybody, we put in the minute post, so we didn't listen to it just now. That's why we're almost trying to catch up with ourselves. That's how riveting these 5 minutes are this week. We almost have to clear it up. They walk down the tunnel.
Subway tunnel.
They walk down the tunnel.
And we have the forced perspective at the end of it, which is basically a painting.
Yeah, a matte painting.
So my immediate thought was, and it's really, of the forced perspective type things we're going to see in these 5 minutes, it's one of the least offensive.
Yeah, because there's one in the future minutes that's really bad.
It's like, I don't even know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
So with this one, they're walking down a subway tunnel, and it's got really nice tracks on it. It's got molten kind of
some rubble
scarring and
around
whatnot.
there, yeah.
However, what I had to ask myself, they're doing a bit of the Death Star corridor where they rescue Leia. They put something at the end that makes it look like it goes on into
Longer
infinity.
than it is, yeah.
Why do you not just fine, put it there,
or just have rocks fall down and cut it off?
Yeah, you do something to cover it, or what about your lighting? Why couldn't you sort of make it darken so and then put a kick light in it that at the end there's something, just to illuminate. And I know the budget's cut. I know that takes extra lighting, and they're really trying to be economical. But it's by the time they get down to the end of the tracks, it is so apparent that they're standing in front of a backdrop.
Yeah, if they had literally just put more rocks there, then you don't need a matte painting or anything. I don't know.
Well, we see them walking to kind of the right of the tracks and then the center of the tracks, and they're sticking mostly to the right and the center, and then they get to a point towards the end where you see him just kind of dart across all the way screen left, and that's when the shot changes to them now as if it's a new tunnel that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. It really felt like there was no reason for him to suddenly just like walk this way,
right?
To walk to the left, to cut out. We could have followed them. We could have, I don't know.
I thought an interesting thing there, we see in a couple of seconds that there's a breeze coming from somewhere that affects mostly Nova's hair, but when Brent talks, we see a little bit of it hitting his. Why didn't that breeze? Why wasn't that what, he comes around and suddenly it hits
triggers him to turn
and he
over
looks that
way
and wonders what it is. To your point, there's nothing outside of this hum, and the hum isn't distinctive enough, or it does in the calling from a direction. Yeah, there's no real reason for him to go other than we need him to go away from this backdrop.
Obviously, okay, so as we record this, we watch 5 minutes at a time, and we break it up to make our 5 recordings for the week. There is so much weirdness with locations and what's going to happen after this, where they're going to end up, that I don't understand how the subway equals where they're going to where they're going to be. It doesn't make any sense.
There is no. We're following them on this kind of walk through. As if they're trying to find the source of the hum, but it seems relatively directionless in terms of, because they do this. They go from screen right to left, then they're walking towards the camera at some point, and then at some point again they're walking back to the right, and it didn't follow a pattern for me.
They're kind of crossing the line too much for you.
Yeah, and we also in the subsequent minutes get Brent doing a lot of talking to himself to explain almost what we're getting, and it feels at that point they knew that they need to explain what's going on.
Yeah.
So when we're in these very minutes, you feel very lost. Now, eventually he comes through these tunnels, and these tunnels are done pretty well. When the thing they're coming through, it's just not, I don't know what the purpose of that tunnel would have been in any kind of system like this. It's an odd subway tiled tunnel, straight shot, no kind of, waterway or
damage or anything,
right? Nothing like that.
Because I had my note for this minute was, is that tunnel new or what? It's got old cave stuff around it, but the ladder and the tunnel look brand new.
It's about 35 seconds in where they made that left turn and come down some tracks, and then 35 seconds in is when we actually get them walking towards the camera again, and they come through an opening that looks like a cave. It doesn't look like it was carved as a part of the subway. It looks like it was just kind of a cave. Like, has it been there for a while? What does it mean? That kind of stuff.
So then we get the moment once they kind of wander through the cave. And Richard, I know this about Sean. I don't know that. Do you play video games at all?
I do.
Yeah, they have at least an Switch, right?
We have a Switch and a PS4.
Okay. So are either of you of the mind that this was a video game moment in that suddenly there's a light And it's
that's
like,
the direction you need to go.
that's the direction you need to
They're
go.
telling you need to go this direction because there's a little light indication.
I mean, if we had, if we could envision this being shot in a modern era and the hum is a direction, we would have been actively using the theater speakers.
Yes, we would.
And the direction of the characters' movements on screen to let us know where that hum is going and why they're going in a direction.
And we try to be fair in that we don't want to judge it on the conventions of today's cinema.
Right.
However, what I thought would have been interesting is why wasn't the tunnel dark and then the light came on?
Oh, yeah.
That would have been
closer,
because, and I'll bring this up because Brent has a comment, I think it's in tomorrow's minute that I'll come back to, that he says that I'm like, I don't understand where his logic is in this. If we had turned on the light, suddenly it would have been that this makes sense.
Yeah.
So
the logic will be in the next minute because we stopped it in the middle of his sentence. And so we'll find out what he's talking about.
It's just, it's a series of them walking along. I know why. We need him to go deeper. We're about to actually get into what we've promised you, Sean. There's some stuff coming that's finally that's new and interesting that is not a reiteration of the first film in any way, shape, or form.
I'm trusting you.
You're really about to get there, but the simple narrative of why they're going deeper is not done very well in this moment. When you really break it down from what's happening.
And in future minutes, I still don't understand. And maybe they will tell us after these 5 minutes what the hum is supposed to be, because it's just a hum that starts and stops.
So after 35 seconds, they walk through kind of what appears to be a cave opening, if you will, something that doesn't look like it was carved by a man, or at least an abandoned tunnel if it was carved that way, never bricked or anything for tracks. And they continue to walk. They walk first towards camera, and then the camera follows them, and they walk to the left. And then at 50 seconds in is when we actually see that circular light with a ladder kind of descending upon it, and they begin to walk towards that. That's the light source we're supposed to have. Now, if we go with the script says, I love this comment here. This detail dependent on set and budget. But in general, no dialogue or music in this sequence, for the hum is the oral thread which will guide them out of the labyrinth of track and tunnel. So they're moving outside of the track and tunnel to something else, right? And the excitement of its gradual crescendo at every new twist and turn and fork taken by Brent and Nova will provide all the music we need. And this music itself will be both oral and visually augmented, which is probably why there's wind,
right?
Toward the search's end by blowing of a light and a steady wind behind Brent and Nova, which may well, for their path has begun to slope upwards, deceive them and the audience into thinking they're about to surface.
That description doesn't sound like a writer writing that. That sounds like a director or a producer saying, all right, instead of Brent and Nova walk to a cave and find a ladder, they go, all right, we're going to describe all this other stuff, because writers don't really write like
usually
that.
You're going to write the action in what you hope the director will put in front of the lens.
Yeah.
That is written
very strangely.
Oddly.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the hum in and of itself is interesting, because I'm trying to imagine just from this point forward, from this up to this point, that kind of a hum. Is it a hum that you would hear in a factory? Is it a hum that you would hear in a, where would you encounter this type of, is it supposed to be an alien sound? Is it supposed to be unnatural?
And I wondered that too, because it really sounds like a 1K tone that you get to set bars and tone if you're in the video world. It's very close to the woo.
Yeah.
So it also is surprising to me because Nova kind of continually acts like it's bothering her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't find it that bothersome. And so I didn't quite understand it.
It would have been more interesting as they got closer to the tunnel if it got
shrill.
louder and started to, maybe you even see blood come out of an ear or something
That's a good idea.
that it's offensive to them somehow.
Yeah.
Right at the very end of this minute, the 58-second mark, 57-second mark, we finally get a tight shot on Brent. We see some wind kind of whipping just a little bit through his hair, and he just seems to kind of oddly looking at this circular light and ladder. Now, the light and the ladder itself, when I saw it, my first impression was that we're still in the subway tunnel, and that is a stairway getting up out of the subway,
right? Like that.
But I did find the way the opening was on the side of a wall as opposed to going up to the surface unusual,
Instead
right?
of going to the ceiling.
Instead of going to the ceiling, exactly. Instead of going to
and it's very, this gets back to what Sean and I talked about, and we'll talk definitely about this tunnel tomorrow. It's a very pristine tunnel, and even when we see it in the side of this wall, it's different.